Paul, if you were closely involved with fishing media and reading fishing media, that you might be led to believe that Pew could be anti-fishing. Are Pew anti-fishing?
Certainly not. We really support sustainable fishing and the right of fishermen to enjoy their pastime. Right around Australia, Pew works in particularly coastal waters to bring about marine protection that strikes a balance. Where feeding and breeding areas are safeguarded, so there are fish for the future, but certainly these represent a small area of those marine parks, and the remainder of those marine parks remain open for fishing, and that's certainly what we support. We're working particularly not only on marine parks issues but on land as well, but the marine parks issue has been a very emotional issue for many decades. And in recent years there has been some questions raised about what exactly is Pew trying to do. And I think it's, just to be really clear, what Pew is not trying to do is lock fishermen out.
Okay.
What we're trying to do is work with sustainable practices, with science-based organisations, with community groups, to bring about a better balance. So that there is, we can remove some of those destructive industrial fishing practices, ensure that there's going to be those healthy populations of fish and other marine life for the future, so that mums and dads can continue to enjoy them. That is exactly what we support, and that's what we want to continue to do.
There's a lot of opinions on marine parks and how they affect fish stocks. What are the facts? What is the research telling us, mate?
Well, we've had, the benefit of a couple of decades of research now, and the clear results from that research are that marine protected areas conserve diversity of life underwater. And they help marine environments like the one here at Marar Island be more resilient. So in this case, it was more resilient to the influx of urchins. So rock lobster numbers, controlling those urchin numbers, continuing to have abundant lobster numbers in the marine reserve. The benefits are very clear, particularly for rock lobsters. The numbers in the reserve, I think, are something like 10 times what you find outside the reserve. And those big breeders are now spreading and producing those spillover benefits.
When they first looking to introduce the marine park at Batemans Bay, I was anti-marine park, but we found there was a complete turnaround that the sanctuary zones were small, so we still couldn't fish that whole area that you're allowed to fish in a lifetime. So there's still lots of room to fish, and the areas outside the sanctuary or no fish zones got better protection from commercial fishing and other activities that were upsetting fish numbers and causing problems with the habitat. Are you finding that is the case in other marine parks around Australia? That's certainly the case for me, but is that the case for you in what you're finding?
I think, really overall, you've got to give these protected areas time, and I think it sounds like that's what happened for you when you saw over time what was the result of this in Batemans Bay, and we can now see that in places further up the coast, like at Solitary Islands, even up in Great Barrier Reef, where John Howard was the one who extended a sanctuary area over a third of the reef, and the benefits there for biodiversity. And even over on the west coast, we've mentioned Ningaloo before, but that's such a world-class example of conservation and recreation working hand in hand.
Yeah, we've filmed there at least 6 or 7 times in Fishing Australia, and I thought Jervis Bay is a good example too. It's been there quite a while, and the sanctuary zones have moved a little bit here and there. And it seems to be working quite well.
But I think even the protected areas can have an immediate benefit.
Yes.
Just recently, the West Australian government responded to the Broome community. Local residents wanted a ban on gill netting in Roebuck Bay. We supported their push and also lobbied the government for that ban. The government brought it in, and instantly we saw a return of fish numbers.
I've certainly heard that feedback as well.